We're going to begin a series of videos on scatter plots. In this video, our objective is fairly straightforward. We want to make a scatter plot for a table of values. And we're going to do this both by hand, and we're also going to do it using Desmos. So first things first, what is a scatter plot? A scatter plot is simply a graph of plotted points that shows the relationship, if there is one, between two sets of data. Okay, let's take a look at an example. Okay, so we have two sets of data here. Well, first off, we have 6 people, and our two sets of data for each person, we have their height in inches and their weight in pounds. Okay, so is there a relationship? Is there a relationship between these two sets of data? Well, a scatter plot, where we can put, for example, the height on the x-axis and the weight on the y-axis, we can see if there is a relationship between these two sets of data. We can make a scatter plot. So let's first do it by hand. Again, we're in quadrant number 1, so we can focus here. We're using real data, so we can focus on quadrant number 1. Okay, here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis, and of course the x-axis we're going to label as our heights in inches, and the y-axis we'll label as weights, and again that's in pounds. Now we notice that, let's see, our heights go from a low looks like 59 to a high of only 64. So we don't really need to start at 0. So we might put one of these little marks in that says we understand that these first data points are from 0 to whatever. And let's start maybe at 58. So we'll put 58 in here, and then we'll go over and we'll do this by 2s. 60, 62, 64, and of course 66. I think that covers us. So this is just, this little mark here is telling us that between here and 58 is not really 58 units, because these are each 2 units. So we're just kind of collapsing that because it doesn't have any meaning. Okay, let's do the same thing with our weights. Our weights go from a low of 120 to a high of 165. So we don't need these low weights between 0 and whatever. So we'll start these at, we'll start at 120. And let's count these by 10. 130, 140, 150, 160, and then we'll go to 170. So those are, well, not perfect, but that's good enough for just a simple sketch of the thing, of the data. And now let's plot our points. Person A, height 64, corresponding to a weight, of 165. So 64, 165, ballpark here. Person A. Person B, 66, 160. So taller, but not quite as heavy. There's person B. Person C, 59, 138. Well, 59 is here. 138 approximately here. So there is person C. Person D, 62 inches, 120 pounds. 62, rather light at 120. Here's person D. Person E, 64 inches, 129. 64, 129 is here. There's person E. And finally, person F, 61 inches tall, 152. 61 here, up to 152 is approximately here. And this is person F. And we've just created a scatter plot with those six points. Okay? And so is there a relationship? Well, we know there is. As people get taller, they tend to get heavier. And you can kind of see here, as we're getting taller, people are getting heavier in general. Okay? We're going to look in our upcoming videos if there's how strong the relationship is, but we know there kind of is one. Let's do the same thing in Desmos to get a little practice with how it looks here. A little simpler, a little neater, of course, because it's a computer. And so going to Desmos, I will go to the plus feature. I'll press plus and I'll choose table. And X1 I'll make heights and X2 I'll make weights. And so my first person A has a height of 64, a weight of 165. My second person B is height of 66, a weight of 160. Person C is 59 inches with a weight of 138 pounds. Person D is 62 inches with a weight of 120 pounds. Person E, 64 inches with a weight of a lightweight 129. Person F is 61 with a weight of 152. And as we know, the default for Desmos is -10 to 10 in both directions. If we press this magnifying glass with the plus sign, it will rescale for us and we can see our data here. In this case, they're going from 100 to 180 on the y-axis and from 56 to 68 on the x-axis. And there are your 6 points. And again, we can get a trend here that as people get heavier, as people get taller, they tend to get heavier. So there you have it, creating a scatter plot.